this is Brig, and we are the Pilling family. So we haven't done a video in a while, but today's video we are going to talk about some of the steps that we did for us to purchase our first home, because we just bought our first home. So we're building our first home, and so these are just some of the steps. This is just our way that we did, that we went through to buy our home. There's a lot of different ways and different steps that you can take to buy and purchase your first home, but this is just what we did.
And just to not make ourselves sound super fancy or anything, we're not financial experts.
Yep.
We're not mortgage brokers. We are learning everything along the way, and it's all self-taught as well.
Yeah.
So
this is just us sharing our experience and what we did.
So if it goes wrong for you, don't sue us.
Yeah.
This isn't a financial expert. This is just our journey and what we've done.
Yeah.
And if you want to grab anything from what we've done, feel free to take what you want, leave what you want to.
Okay, so we're going to get started. Step 1, set goals and plan. So we decided on a goal to buy our first home when we moved over from New Zealand, and it has always been a huge goal of ours to buy a house, because obviously that's what a lot of people want, is to buy a house, and for us it's an end goal of financial freedom. So we set the goal to buy a house, and then we made a plan. So we went and looked at display homes, and we went and looked at display homes. I think for us that really made us more determined to buy a house. Hey babe.
Definitely.
So,
I think for me that was the moment.
Okay, so we just arrived here at the display village, and we're just gonna go inside and have a look, and just ask someone questions so that we can find answers to some of the questions that we have around buying a home here. So come on with us. Hi, Bessie. Okay, so we're just gonna have a look at some of the display homes. Because we have kids, we need to go with the kids too, so it's not always easy, but
I researched also through these display homes.
Yeah.
I think I was really inspired, and Ivy was super inspired.
yeah, so that's what we wanted to do, and obviously for us it was a huge motivation just going and seeing these display homes, because it was like, yes, we have to do this, we can do this. Okay, so that was what we did. We set our goals and we made our plans to buy as soon as my husband got steady employment, and we will go more into that later.
Definitely. And so step number 2 is to minimize your debt. It's perfectly normal to have debt. It's what every couple, every family has. I think it's really hard to avoid debt. We've been taught by some really inspirational people in our lives personally that we should try and minimize debt, and we should only have debt for things that are important. There's 3 main things you should have debt for. 1 being study, 2 being a house, and 3 being a business. And so we're not saying we're perfect at minimizing debt. We're not saying we don't have debt. We're just saying that we tried our best to minimize the debt that we did have.
Yeah.
Which meant not having a credit card, not financing a car. And if any of you know us, we were driving a pretty beat up car that just died a few months ago, but we had no money. It was a cheap car. It was to get us from A to B.
We bought that car in cash, and we wanted to make sure that we didn't have, anything owing on it, so that we could.
I mean, it was really tempting to finance a nice car, just a nice car that we could rely on, but we knew that would impact our chances of getting a better house. So for us, it was minimizing the debt that we had.
The 3rd tip is having steady employment, and having savings, and then accessing any government help that you can get.
When we moved to Australia, I was fortunate enough to get a contract. I was covering a maternity cover. It was a 12-month contract. I was very blessed. From a loving Heavenly Father to help us turn that maternity cover into a full-time permanent job.
Banks would look at as well as whether you have steady employment, because it is kind of risky if you don't.
The bank, it's not like financing a car where it's $10,000 to $20,000.
Yeah.
the bank's potentially lending you between 150,000 to 500,000, which also leads into our next topic, where savings is definitely important.
It's so hard to save, honestly, especially when you have family things come up. So it was quite a struggle, but I think during COVID it was such a blessing.
As hard as it's been,
blessing.
you know, we're not saying it's,
Yeah.
we're not grateful for COVID, but
Yeah.
we're grateful for
The blessings that have come from COVID, because it's allowed us to save a lot more.
and not go on trips overseas, which we love to do.
Yeah.
But with that too, you know, we had to sacrifice, like everyone else has to sacrifice. Not going on trips, not eating out as much as maybe we wanted to, not buying a fancy car. But we were able to, during that time, we were able to save money, put it aside, knowing that we're saving for a house.
Yeah.
But also with that, we also researched into different government schemes or government incentives we could get into.
Yeah.
Even though we're New Zealand citizens, we're eligible for a few different things in Australia. And depending on what country you live in, and also what state of Australia, if you are in Australia, you'll be eligible for different schemes that you can join into.
Hi everyone! Okay, so today we received a letter.
In the mail! So as you guys know, we recently applied to get our super out to use it in our first home super saver scheme.
And so we're in the process of buying a house, as you guys know by now. And this here has been a huge thing for us because we were able to get our Kiwi Saver from New Zealand. Yay!
So share the scheme, babe. So we actually met with a mortgage broker before, and he said to us that it was not possible for us to take out our Kiwi Saver or have it sent over or take it out. And so we were like, you know, we left that meeting with him feeling a bit discouraged, but then we're both like, nah, we're still going to try and apply. So,
So if anyone knows, like especially if you're from New Zealand, you save up your Kiwi Saver, that's a portion of your pay that goes into your Kiwi Saver, your employer contributes and the government contribute too. That money is specifically there for two things, for your retirement and also when you buy your first home. When you move to Australia, they have what you call superannuation. Superannuation is there for when you're retired. So it's not there for your first house, it's not there to help you get into the housing market. It's primarily there to help Australians get into, to save up for a retirement fund. So for us, moving our Kiwi Saver to Australia, thinking that we could use our super, we were pretty gutted, like Ivy said. We went to mortgage broker, he shut us down pretty quick. If you know Ivy and me, we can get shut down many times.
well, no, there's my husband, he's like, that's a good thing about him. He doesn't take no for an answer, and he'll just keep trying to find other ways to make it possible.
Because we're cheap and frugal. So I did my own research. I looked into a few case studies of other people in Australia and what they had done. And I found, I wouldn't say a loophole, but I found a scheme which isn't commonly known in Australia. It's called the First Home Super Saver Scheme. Forgive me, but it was called something else a few years ago. So if you don't know or you haven't heard of the scheme, it might have been called something else previously. But with this scheme and what really stood out to us, it allowed two partners, so a husband and wife or two partners that live together, to access if their superannuation, each of them can access up to $35,000 each towards their first home. And it gives you 12 months to build. So the moment you withdraw or you apply for that money to come out through the ATO or the Australian Taxation Office, it gives you up to 12 months to buy the house. So we're really fortunate where we could actually take our Kiwi Saver as we transferred it to our super. We're able to access that Kiwi Saver for our first home.
It's never, you know, a problem to get that extra help, especially when you've worked so hard to get your Kiwi Saver too back home if you're from New Zealand. So you obviously want to use it for your first home.
Because remember, it's not like you're using the government's money. This is your money that you've been saving. And I've been working since I was 14 or 15. I've been putting it towards my Kiwi Saver. I'm 28 now. So during that time, I was saving for a house. But when we moved to Australia, that changed. And same as Ivy too.
So what you also like, so it depends on which provider you go with as well, and whether they can allow it. So the provider we went with was WA Super. So it's good to do your own research as well to see and ask around to see which super provider will allow you to take out your KiwiSaver for the first home.
Remember, not all of them allow KiwiSaver to be transferred. One of the biggest ones in Australia is Hester. Hester does not allow you to take out to transfer your KiwiSaver to your
We
Australian
tried.
Super. So just be mindful of that. But yeah, so that's what we access. But we also access the first home earnings grant. Depending on what state, we live in Queensland, we're able to access 15,000 towards the first home. The only you can only access it if you're building or if you're buying a brand new property.
Yeah.
So for us, we decided to build. That was more in our kind of our plans.
Yeah.
So that's what we did.
Fourth step is to do your research.
Fun part.
So we looked into different areas, and the area that we currently live in, we absolutely love, and we wanted to stay in this area. So for us, it was trying to find a place that catered to our budget that we had as well, because we did set ourselves a budget. And also, when you meet with the mortgage broker, he'll give you a budget of how much you can spend.
And that's dependent on how much savings you have.
Yes, and how
how
much income you make. Okay, so it's different for everyone. Not
And
everyone's
kids
income.
too.
Yeah.
So if you
That's what they said to us. He asked us if we're gonna have more kids, and we're like, not yet. And he was like, yeah, because they take that into consideration for your application, is how many kids, how many dependents you have.
Definitely. So we have. So just be mindful that we're not saying stop having kids. We're just saying
You probably might have to just wait until you get the application done.
And you know with that, whether you have 3 kids or whether you have 10 or 11 kids, we're not saying it's impossible. We're just saying
no, it's not impossible.
just be mindful.
Yeah.
Like for our journey,
Yeah.
we were able to do it with 3 kids, and I'm a sole provider for
Yeah, he's the only one working right now full time. So, that everyone's income is different and what you can get is different. So research into the area that you want to buy in or want to build in. For us, we were looking at this particular location, and it was close to schools. There's schools all around it, and it's just a super family friendly area that we live in, and so we wanted to stay in this area. Hey.
Yeah, we loved it. We won't say what area, just we don't want to.
But yeah, it was so important for us to research, and we looked at different areas too, because our budget was our budget was low, and we had to try and look at other areas to try and buy somewhere else. But then we were so fortunate that we were very blessed. We had a really good deal that came up, which was in the area that we really wanted to buy in.
And just remember, with our research, what you're trying to do, what we did, is we looked at how many bedrooms we could afford in what area and what land size. So it's kind of those 3 things. So what bedroom, what size land, and what area you want to live in.
Yeah, and
so,
what is around, right? Accessibility to transport, like buses and trains, schools, hospital, and also to like shopping center.
So for us, we had 3 areas we could buy in. 3 areas. But each area had a different land size, different size bedroom. But for us, we really wanted to focus on our kids growing up, what area we'll be living in. So we went with the smaller property that was in a better area.
For us, this is not our dream home. This is just for us to get into the market. And that was more important for us, was getting into the market than, getting into our dream home.
So step number 5. We met with our new broker. Actually, we met with him over the phone because we're in COVID-19.
Yeah, lockdown, so
we actually haven't met our broker face to face, but we've had a lot of communication over the phone, through emails.
Yeah.
Which led us to meeting with him.
We still haven't met him face to face, like to this day.
I don't know if he's real. I think he is. We had great, so with our broker, I had a colleague at work that referred him on to us. Referred us onto him. They helped him buy a house, and he's been a good broker. He's done his job. He's helped us, and he also helped us understand what we needed to do to prepare to buy a house, to execute, and to go through all the plans.
And he gave us what we could afford to. He let us know what we could afford. We got our pre-approval. Hey, he did up all our documents, our application, and we were able to get our pre-approval. Okay, we have just found out yesterday some very exciting news.
We got
We're having a baby. No.
Not that exciting. We applied for a home loan through our mortgage broker, and it's been conditionally approved. So that means we're all set to go.
Woo!
And we're also able to meet with our builder. So
Yep.
we've
So once we got our pre-approval, that's when we need to meet the builder.
yeah, we don't want to go meet with people
Yeah.
before we've been pre-approved.
Yeah, and you know, they kind of like take you more seriously when you do have your pre-approval.
We walked in there waving with his paper in the air. But with us, so we actually, sometimes with your broker, they can help you source land. They can source builders, they have them on file on their own files.
Yeah,
With us though, once again, we like to do things on our own.
yeah.
We like to research, we like to get the best deal. So what he proposed to us was great.
Yeah, but
But-
I think for us, we weren't really satisfied with it.
It just didn't match up to what we were after.
Yeah, and I think because our hearts were still set on this particular area that we wanted to buy in, and what he gave us was in a different area. So I'm like, no, there must be another way.
Yeah. So we actually sourced our house and land package through realestate.com.au. A great website in Australia. Every country has different websites, but for Australia, we use realestate.com.au. We found a house and land package in that area that we researched and that we decided was the right area for us. And then we went to our broker and we said, hey, what do you think about this? Can we afford it? Like realistically? And that's when everything started to really
Yeah.
roll out.
I think
quick.
we went like 100% because we wanted to kind of wait till the market, like after, because we weren't 100% sure. Obviously with COVID, we're like, you know, is the market going to go down or is it going to go back up? Like, so we weren't really sure about that. But we still went through the application process.
Yeah, I remember during the whole process, Ivy and myself were extremely religious. We have a strong faith in our Heavenly Father, Jesus Christ. So along the whole way, we prayed.
We were praying and fasted about it.
And we really relied on those promptings and
Yeah.
those feelings we got to know that what we're doing was right.
Yeah.
And there's actually something our broker said and something that my mum said to us, which was very in line with kind of what we were feeling. My mum said to us, there's no better time to buy it than now. And the broker pretty much did the same thing. And so I think for us, that was kind of the point where we said, yep, we're doing this, we're going ahead, we're not waiting. And it worked out really well.
Yeah, that was best decision for us. And then I think meeting with the builder, like as soon as we met with him that day, we like put a deposit down for the land.
Yeah, so we felt good. We went in there
Yeah,
and we put a deposit down.
yeah.
And that was,
Yeah, that's when everything just started going from there, like just started. And then later on we met with them again to pick out the color schemes as well, which was really fun. And here's a little video of it. So at the display center, so we're going to have a look at the color scheme for the exterior and the interior of our house. So let's go, guys.
I'll show you the colour schemes that, okay. However, we know that you want to get everything as quickly as possible that you've got. We've got the carpet displayed here, but you guys are going with the laminate.
Yeah, that's
So with the laminate, you can choose any of the floor next to it if you like.
Oh, yes, please.
It's just sort of easier if it's all down there. Fresh and nice and bright.
Yeah.
Alright guys, so this is the last point for our first video, part 6, is to buy. So like Ivy said before, we put an initial deposit down for this house and land package. We went and met with the colour selection team. We picked out the colours, we picked out everything. And then that led up to the point where we went through the land settlement to purchase the land.
Oh my gosh, you guys. We just got approved. We just got approved for our house. Oh my gosh, I'm just buzzing out today. We just got the message from our mortgage broker saying that we have been approved, unconditionally approved for our house. So excited. I just want to for me, and we just said a prayer of thanksgiving, just a grateful prayer, because this has been a huge blessing for us.
And we're really fortunate. A few weeks after we put the initial deposit down for the land, the builder actually called up and advised us that all the other land had sold due to an incentive the government released for COVID. So
it's a really good incentive too, but only citizens, Australian citizens could get it.
So we missed out, but that's okay.
Yeah.
But they called us, that was probably 2 weeks after we put our initial deposit down on the land.
Yeah.
2 weeks later, our builder called up and told us that all the land had actually sold.
Yeah, a
as
lot
soon
of the
as that
land
incentive came out.
around where we were looking to, like where we got our land, they were all like selling out. It was crazy.
So we are here at the land.
The land.
At the land. This is the land.
We were very blessed, fortunate to buy what we bought, and in the long term, I think it's going to pay out really well.
Yeah.
So that's all for part 1.
Yep, this is our part 1 for our 3-part series.
So we know it's
because
long.
I feel like there's so much to
There's so
cover.
much.
There's a lot to cover, and there's a lot we want to say, but we don't want to, let it drag on.
And the main thing for these videos is for us to share our journey.
Yeah.
We're not saying it's the same journey for everybody, but we understand that for us it's worked.
Yeah.
And if anyone has any questions,
Pop them in the box below. Let us know any of your questions that you have. We'll be happy to answer them.
yeah. And for part 2, we'll talk a bit more about the building process. And if you have anything you want to know in that video, like Ivy said, put in the comments below and we'll add that to the video.
Okay, see
Thanks,
you
fam.
guys. Thank you for joining us. Bye.